Hey guys, this is Dave from Hellhammer. I'm going to have a little talk about the Dark Angels Codex, 12 months on. How does it stand up against the newer codexes? Based on stats? Based on my experiences, how do I feel it is as a codex? Do I think it's strong? Now, these are only my opinions, and I know out there other people will have their opinions. So bear with me, and this is all based on statistics I've looked at, my own experience of playing with this Dark Angels, because since the book dropped 12 months ago, it's the only army I've actually used. So I'm starting to understand the nuances now of what this army can actually do. So, to start, 12 months. What a year for the Dark Angels. They have been a good army for me, but I think the Dark Angels, design-wise, the models are amazing. The colour scheme, when you put all aspects of it out, Black Ravenwing, Bone Deathwing and Green Space Marines, it really does complement each other well on the battlefield from a visual and aesthetic point of view. From a game point of view, well, we'll go into that. Now, all the information in this video is correct as of the 31st of January. So, any stats that have changed since then will obviously be different. But this is based on my fact finding, what I've looked into, and how I feel the Dark Angels are going to be. So with that in mind, let's look at some statistics. So, statistics. Let's look at some of these, or discuss some of these. Okay. So, in the period since the Codex dropped, the start of February 2021 to the end of January 2022, the Dark Angels are sitting out of the 33 factions that have been used at tournaments in those 12 months. The Dark Angels are sitting at position 21. So they're quite low down. They have a win percentage of 43.37%. So this is based on 177 primaries, prime numbers as their primary list, 183 total lists, with an average of 67.61 victory points per game. Their opponents are averaging 71.96 victory points per game. So you're already running at an underdog level. Not by much. 67-71, it's not a lot. Their win rate, like I say, is 43.37%. And they've won 398 games, 497 losses, 23 draws. So, breakdown on that. That is the majority of people using Dark Angels as Dark Angels. No sub-factions, no chapter successors. Due to, you lose a lot of the good Dark Angel stuff if you go down that line of successors. So, looking at the factions that the Dark Angels do well against, the hardest matchup the Dark Angels have, according to the statistics I've found, are the Drukhari. But as it stands in the current meta, the Drukhari are one of the stronger factions. They have a really poor win rate of 29.31% of their games against Drukhari. That's how much they win. It's strange, but their biggest win rate overall is the Tau. Okay, the Dark Angel Super Detachment, Sons of the Lion. Sons of the Lion. Now, unlike other Space Marine chapters who get one doctrine for one of the other doctrines, the Dark Angels get a 3-part doctrine, otherwise known as super doctrine. In the Devastator doctrine, they have Speed the Raven, which means Ravenwing models from your army get an extra 3 inches to their move characteristic. They can also shoot in a turn they've advanced with the -1 to hit penalty from advancing and firing on assault weapons. This is all Ravenwing units. Now the Talon Master can get around that with his Reliquate Arbiter's Gaze, because he'll always hit on 2 regardless. While the Tactical Doctrine is active for your army, infantry models in your army, excluding Deathwing models, can make attacks with rapid fire and assault weapons, excluding blast, while engagement range of enemy units. But they must target an enemy unit in engagement range themselves. This is very similar to the Big Guns Never Tire rule. However, when the Dark Angels do it, they count as having ballistic characteristic of 5+, which due to Grim Resolve will go up to 4+. And in the Assault Doctrine, Deathwing Infantry and Deathwing Dreadnoughts, whenever they make a melee attack against a character unit or unit that contains any models or wound characteristic of 8 or more, you can re-roll wound rolls, which is really good. So it's split over to 3, so you use an army that's all 3 wings, and you will get maximum benefits out of it. But I'm finding Fire Discipline doesn't really come into play that much at the moment. Maybe it will. All depends on your build. But Sons of the Lion is a fantastic super doctrine. First and second company rules, people are using them a lot. So the first company rules are Deathwing Terminator, Terminator squads, Terminator assault squads, and Relic Terminator squads in this detachment gain objective secured. Brilliant. So it's a nice, bulky, lots of Terminator armor stuff sitting on objectives. If your Warlord is part of this detachment's command benefits are changed to +3 command points. You don't spend any command points for taking that Vanguard. The second company is aimed at the Outrider detachments. Bike squads and Outrider squads units in this detachment gain objective secured. And again, if your Warlord is part of this detachment's command benefits are changed to +3 command points. So in a first company or second company list, Vanguard or Outrider, you can only have Vanguard or Ravenwing units. That's the way it's been worded, which is why you're seeing a lot of them. So looking over the data sheets, I'm going to show you a couple of things that stand out for me. Relics that I think are strong and are turning up in quite a lot of armies. Azrael, the Dark Angels Chapter Master, who's a fantastic buffing character for the Dark Angels. Comes with a Mastercraft combi weapon, which increases its damage to 2. The Plasma gun part is a supercharged plasma with no drawback. The Sword of Secrets is a +2 strength, 2 damage sword that inflicts mortal wounds on an unmodified roll of 6 in addition to its normal damage. His Warlord trait lets you roll back a doctrine on any one Dark Angel unit, and he gives you 2 extra command points for being your Warlord. He also comes with a 6-inch aura for infantry and bikers of 4 up invulnerable. He can give a character or core unit full rerolls through being a Chapter Master, has rights of battle for any core units within 6 inches, automatic reroll 1s, and thanks to his little watcher, he comes with a Deny the Witch. As a member of Deathwing, he also has the Inner Circle rules. This is all wrapped up into a nice points package of 170 points. Ezekiel is the Dark Angel's Chief Librarian, and he comes with a 2-up armor, 4-up invuln save, Inner Circle, and some really nice abilities. He's got a 2 damage, -1 AP bolt pistol, and he's got his Traitor's Bane, which is a +2 strength, -3 AP, D3 damage, false sword, which has the really cool ability that each time an attack is made against Fallen or Heretic Astartes, the sword goes to a flat damage 3, which is fantastic. This Book of Salvation gives him a 6-inch aura of +1 attack that, funnily enough, does not stack with Shock Assault, which then means that in the second round of combat onwards, when Space Marines lose their Shock Assault ability, he can still give them that +1 attack that they would get. As a Chief Librarian, he gets +1 to cast on all the Enteromancy powers, which is the Dark Angel's unique discipline. And I think for his points, which is only 125 points, it's an absolute steal. He's got better profile than a build your own Chief Librarian, better weapons, better abilities. Point for point, he is probably one of the most efficient units the Dark Angels have access to. The first relic we're going to look at is the Penance of Remembrance, which can only go on a Deathwing Ancient, so a Terminator Ancient or a Blade Guard Ancient. In your command phase, that one Deathwing which you call a unit from your army within 6 is the bearer, so start your next command phase, shall attack allocate to one that unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack to a minimal 1. Fantastic. Terminator is already resilient, the whole Deathwing resilient with the inbuilt transhuman. On Blade Guards, it becomes an absolute nightmare. And it's a very powerful relic, and in Deathwing heavy builds, you will always see this relic. The other relic that stands out for me is the Reliquate of the Repugnance, which is a Ravenwing biker model only. While aiming unit is in 3 inches of the bearer, each time invulnerable saving throw is made for a mod in that unit that has an invulnerable saving throw of 4+ or better, saving throw is unsuccessful, an unmodified roll of 5. So a lot of people putting this on the Ravenwing Company champion. She's got a good sword, upgrading to Chapter Champion, becomes even better in combat with dealing with characters. And a lot of these 4-up invuln characters, their saves are reduced, so it makes it easier to get those wounds through when they rely on their invulns. I haven't used it yet, but on paper it looks like a fantastic stratagem, and as I'm seeing it in a lot of competitive lists I've been looking at, I think this might be something that needs to be added and in most Ravenwing build lists. One of my favourite units for Dark Angels to use is Blade Guard. Now, Blade Guard are a fantastic unit in any army. White Scars with their super doctrine, they go up to 3 damage power swords. Brilliant. The Dark Angels, this is where I think they become really good. As long as you've got an Ancient nearby, Ancient with the Relic Banner, also gives them +1 to hit. Now, being Dark Angels, you're getting +1 to hit if you don't move anyway. So when someone charges you, you're hitting them on 2s. So you're getting Blade Guard with the Ancient nearby, we're hitting on 2s whether they charge or get charged. Brilliant. Come with Storm Shield, so they're running around with a 2-up armor save, 3 wounds, 4-up invuln save, a 2 damage, +1 strength power sword. Oh, and Transhuman, because they're in a circle, which is really good. I've used them to punch through battlefields. I've had a game where by turn 5 they were sat on the objective in my enemy's deployment zone, foot slogging. So sometimes I feel foot slog can be the best way to use them, because if you buff them up right, I normally have an apothecary nearby just to keep them going, to keep them as full strength as long as I can. And the only units I've really struggled to hurt are Death Shroud. The Enteromancy Discipline, Dark Angel's unique psychic discipline. Now, as of filming, this is possibly one of the strongest psychic disciplines in the game. It comes with 6 powers as normal: Mindworm, Aversion, Righteous Repugnance, Trephination, Engulfing Fear, and Mind Wipe. Now, out of these, 5 are really good. 1 you don't really see used, and 1 is a hit and miss one. Some people use it, some people don't. So we'll quickly go over them. Mindworm, pick a unit with 8 inches of Psyche, cast on a 6, causes a mortal wound, and makes that unit fight after all other eligible units, so they can't interrupt that unit. Great. Fantastic when you really want to hold something up when you want, so you can hit it. Aversion, again, warp charge 6, pick a unit in 24 inches. These are all enemy units. While that unit is in 6 inches of Psyche, subtract 1 from the attacks characteristic models in that unit. That's why a lot of people aren't taking it. Each time on that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from that attack's hit roll. So giving a unit -1 to hit. Which, again, if you're going in with a hard-hitting unit to deal with someone else's big, heavy unit, you need to do it. Righteous Repugnance. This is a blessing, so it helps your unit. Cast on a 7. One Dark Angel unit 12 inches gets to reroll hits and wounds in melee. It's fantastic. On some units, it really does push them up another level. But it's not what I'm using. Trephination is a leadership-based psychic test for mortal wounds like Smite. It's not brilliant. Engulfing Fear is a really good one. Pick an enemy unit in 24 inches, warp charge 7, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of enemies in that unit. Turns off objective secured. And if you beat their leadership test, they can't perform any actions with that unit, which in the current meta is really powerful. Stopping unit performing actions when people are trying to get them for their secondaries, great. Turning off objective secured, it's just so you can put one mod on there with it, and all of a sudden that's then your objective, not your opponent's. Then you got Mind Wipe. Again, another malediction, so affects enemy units. Warp charge 7, pick an enemy unit with 18 inches of Psyche, and select one aura ability this unit has. So starting next Psyche phase, it loses it. Turning off auras. Against some models, it really does come into its own. I'm turning off your rerolls to hit that you're getting from that. Oh, is that your 6-up Shrugged and Apothecary? Not anymore. So, Trephination is the one you don't really see. Mindworm, Righteous Repugnance, Engulfing Fear, and Mind Wipe are ones everyone takes. And Aversion is a hit and miss one. I use it a lot because I like to move my librarian up to the middle of the board. Using Ezekiel, +1 to cast on it, and he actually can benefit from it, especially against Heretic Astartes, when he's reducing their attack by 1, making them -1 to hit, and his sword goes up to flat 3 damage instead of D3. It's really good, but it works in the list I run. It's not for everyone. But Mindworm, Righteous Repugnance, Engulfing Fear, and Mind Wipe are the 4 powers you will always see in 90 to 95% of Dark Angel lists. So like most codexes now, all codexes, every codex gets its own chapter approved rules which are used in match play. Dark Angel no exception. They get 3. They get 1 from Purge the Enemy, Martial Interdiction, which, if you select this objective after both sides are deployed, before the first turn begins, your opponent must select 1 character model from your army. Score victory points at the end of the battle as follows. Score 6 victory points if the select enemy model was destroyed by a melee attack made by a Dark Ages model from your army. Score 3 additional points if that enemy model was destroyed by a melee attack made by an Inner Circle or Deathwing model. Score 6 additional points if the Dark Angel model's unit destroyed the select enemy model has not itself been destroyed. So, realistically, you're going to get 9 out of that, because in 9th edition it's really hard to take out a unit like that and have the unit that did it survive. It's very, very swingy, so it's not one you'll see. No Mercy, no Respite. You've got a Ravenwing specific one, Death on the Wind. Score 2 victory points each time an enemy unit is destroyed by an attack made by a Ravenwing model from your army that moved 12 inches or more during the movement phase of that turn, or made a charge move that turn. Now this was FAQ'd because people were just moving 6 inches one way, 6 inches back. Technically they've moved 12 inches, but you have to finish your move 12 inches further away from where you started for the purpose of this secondary. Now in a full Ravenwing army this can be quite easy to achieve, alongside some of the others. Then, my favourite, Battlefield Supremacy, Stubborn Defiance. In your first command phase, select 1 objective marker. At the end of each of your command phases, after the first, if you control that objective marker with a Dark Angel's unit, show me that has objective secured, has to be objective secured, that's the key thing for this. Score a number of victory points based on the consecutive number of your command phases that you have controlled the objective marker with that unit as follows. So you hold it for 2, you get 2 victory points. Hold it for 3, you get 3. Hold it for 4, you get 5. Hold it for 5, you get 5. However, if you hold it for 3 and then you're taken off it, you then have to get another OBSEC unit on it. In turn 4 and 5, you will then only get another 2. So, to max it, you've got to have a unit that's resilient enough to hold and be able to take whatever your opponent throws to stop you maxing that secondary. Now, I've managed to do it a couple of times, but it's not very often. But with the change to the new chapter approved, what's happening now, Space Marines can no longer take from their supplement book and the core Space Marine Codex. I used to run Oath of the Moment from the core Space Marine Codex and Stubborn Defiance from my Dark Angels book. Going forward, I will no longer be allowed to do that. So it's now down to which secondary is worth taking depending on my mission and my opponent. Against some armies, Stubborn Defiance will still be brilliant. Against others, Oath becomes even better. But there are others I can look at. So that's the Dark Angel secondaries. Personally, I feel Stubborn Defiance is a good one with the right units. And if the right build, Death on the Wind can be absolutely ruthless for your opponent. Especially when combined with engage on all fronts where you need to get into table quarters as well. You can use your secondary for that to get those 12-inch moves to get into those quarters. Destroy enemy units, 2 victory points. You only need to destroy 8 units total to max that with Ravenwing units. Which is pretty good, seeing as the Ravenwing have some really nice tricks. Now, what I'm seeing, looking over the lists, most armies are rocking Deathwing, Ravenwing. Near enough, Deathwing command squads, attack bikes, because they're point efficient for what they do. But my experience with attack bikes is no matter what I do, as soon as my opponents see them, they're gone. The first thing they try and do. You rock your multi-melters so you can get out and try and get some of their vehicles. But there are some armies where they just go before you can even do anything with them. And it's like, oh, well, that was a waste of points. Now I've got to try and come up with a backup plan. So, yes, I think they are good. Don't get me wrong. They've got to be good because they're turning up in a lot of top fours. Now, talking top fours. In 12 months, Dark Angels have placed top 4 22 times. In 12 months. Now, a month after their book was released, Drukhari came out. And Drukhari have been at the top of the tournaments and metas since their book was released. They are a really powerful army. However, the Dark Angels do have some counters, but you need to push down the inner circle Deathwing route to do it. So, that is an overview of my Dark Angels codex, how I see them 12 months on. Competitively, they're not top tier. They are competing against some really powerful builds. Certain armies now have increased power levels and are really good. So the Dark Angels have slipped down the rankings. However, I feel they are still one of the strongest Space Marine armies out there for the way the game's played. Who knows, next 12 months, they could go up to top tier. I don't think they will. I feel the way the codex is written and the way the new codex is coming out and the meta's changing, they'll always be just below the cusp of becoming a strong army. So guys, that's my overview of the Dark Angels book, how it stands 12 months on. And if you've enjoyed this, like and subscribe to the channel. I have more content on the way, various aspects of the hobby. And till the next video, this is Hellhammer signing off.